Welcome into the Birds of the Roundtable. I am your host, Shane Haff. You can give me a follow on Twitter and Threads now and YouTube at Shane Haff NFL. We are coming to you tonight with the second best episode that we will record for this season. It is our annual Eagles over-under predictions episode, and I only say it's second because unlike most podcasts, at the end of the year, we're going to come back and revisit this. And we're going to have clips of all the things we got wrong and maybe a thing or two we got right along the way. And we're going to have a good time laughing at ourselves. So you guys be sure and join in for that one at the end of the season as well. I'm joined today by the normal crew. We've got Dibes, give him a follow on Twitter at Mr. Crockpot, Ryan at Philly Sports PSA. We've got our newest co-host, David at PHL Eagle News. And we're welcoming back from last year our reigning champion of this exercise. It is Phil. Give him a follow on Twitter
champ is here.
at Beard and Knowledge. Guys,
finally, I'm a champ at something, man.
Yeah, we're making Phil's dreams come true. I didn't ask him how they're doing individually because they're doing great. We're talking Eagles, and we've got 26 over-unders to get to, so we're just going to dive into it. You guys here on the comments can play along with us. Dives will be putting out polls for the public. We will have a public vote as well, and no pressure public, but last year you guys finished tied for last with Dibes and somebody else that's not important to mention at this point. So we're going to get going here. We're going to take it right off the top with Jalen Hurts passer rating over under 100. So a little bit of context, in 2021 his passer rating was 87.2. Last year, as good a year as he had, his passer rating was 101.5. Last year, there were 7 quarterbacks over a 100 passer rating that had 100-plus passes. So basically, is he going to have essentially the same efficiency as a passer that he did last season? Dibes, I'll throw this one to you first.
This one's hard to bet against, right? Personally, I don't know if Hurts has reached his ceiling. He's going to continue to get better as a mental processor. Better as a decision maker, better down the field. Then there's also areas that you would probably just hope he stays the same and continues to roll, man. He's like the evidence that, these NFL quarterbacks can make huge improvements with their accuracy. I can't bet against Jalen Hurts, man. Give me the under for this one. Going over.
I thought he was about to just pull something there. So, okay. Dive has the over. Phil, I'll throw it to you. What do you have?
Yeah, it's no doubt the over. And the first reason why I'm saying is when you put that stat there, 7 quarterbacks with 100 or better passer rating last year, he is definitely better than 3 or 4 of those quarterbacks, even if he just stays the same. That's the question this offseason. Is he going to get better, regress, whatever? Even if he stays the same, he gets over 100 easily this year. He might get better. Maybe he even hits 102, 103 this year. Without a shadow of a doubt, the MVP of the NFL will be over 100 quarterback rating this year.
All right, we've got 2 overs so far. Patrick chiming in on Facebook. What's up, Patrick? We've got Davey on YouTube is taking the over. David, throw it to you here. Do you believe in Jalen Hurts, or are you going to rain on the parade here?
I do believe in him, but I am going slightly under and saying 96 to 100 range. I just think the competition is going to be harder. I don't think he's going to surprise as many people. I think the defenses and coverages will be a lot different than the way he was played last year. But it's not to say I don't believe in him. I just think it'll be slightly under 100.
All right, so we have our first under. Ryan, I'll throw it to you. Over or under?
Yeah, I'm going to go over and kind of piggyback on what Phil just said. He's easily the top 7 quarterbacks. And again, if that trend continues, he's obviously in there. I do think he is going to, at worst, maintain status quo from last year in that regard. And I believe last year I was the only one that went over on this particular question that got it right. So I'm gonna stick with over and get it right again.
All right. Confidence there from Ryan. I will also take the over on this one. You would think it would be advantageous setting the lines. You could kind of skew them for yourself, but it's not the case. I really debated over this one, which way to go, but I'm going to take the slight over on this one as well. So that brings us to our second one. Who will have more all-purpose yards? Receiving yards, rushing yards combined. Will it be Rashad Penny or DeAndre Swift? Phil, I'll throw this one to you first.
I think this is easy for me because it goes right along with my theory I've been pushing all season. It's DeAndre Swift without a shadow of a doubt, because I'm not even sure if Rashad Penny makes this team. And I'm just going to leave it at that there's a chance. His contract is very easy, only about like $600,000 guaranteed. You've got Gainwell, you've got Boston Scott, you still got Trey Sermon. He's going to have the Paul Turner training camp award's going to go to Trey Sermon. There's a chance Penny isn't on this team, so I can't pick him.
All right. David, I'll throw
I'm
it
also
to you.
going. I'm also going with Swift due to same thing Phil mentioned, the contract, also his previous injury history, and I think Brian Johnson's going to have a little more pass game with the running backs this season. That I think they were 31st in the league last year, and I do not believe they'll be anywhere close to that this season.
Okay, we've got 2 for Swift so far. Ryan, are you on the Swift train? Or are you going to buck the trend here?
No, I'm not going to go and buck the trend. It's got to be Swift. He's the better runner. He's healthier, and again, as many of you mentioned, I've kind of often thought that Penny could be kind of one of those. Listen, if it works, great. If not, cut bait, and it's not a big loss.
All right. Dibes? Oh, no, I guess I should go next in our order. I'm also going to take Swift. I think you guys are slandering Rashad Penny a bit too much. I think he's a fantastic runner. But ultimately, I think it's really unlikely that he stays healthy for the whole season. And it's really unlikely Swift does too, but Swift will contribute in the passing game as well. So I'll go Swift, but I'm really excited about Rashad Penny.
Yeah, and I'm going to just make it a clean sweep. It is Swift for me. And mostly because of what he does opening the offense as a receiver and in pass protection, man. This guy has over 50 catches per season over his first 3 years, 156 receptions, are 5th in the NFL among running backs in that span. He only has 6 fumbles and 520 career touches. And according to PFF, I didn't watch a lot of Detroit Lions games, but he ranked 4th among running backs in pass protection last year. That's going to get him on the field. Give me Swift.
All right. Let's go on to the next one. Hopefully this one will be a little more controversial. We don't get too many clean sweeps. We're going Marcus Mariota starts at 1.5. So Jalen Hurts missed 2 games last year. Had they been able to win one of those games, he would have missed 3 games. In 2021, he missed 1 game due to injury. So will Marcus Mariota start 2 or more games this season? David, I'll throw this one to you first.
I'm going yes, but despite picking them to go under 100 passer rating, I still think that they wrap up things quite easily. I think he might miss 1 game during the season for maintenance and then sit week 17 because they're just not going to need the game.
Okay. Ryan, what do you think?
Yeah, when I first got the list, this was probably the first one that I sat there and probably thought about for a good long time. After just going back and forth, I'm going to have to say over. I'm not confident about this one. I could easily see them, again, wrapping it up pretty easily, getting Mariota some starts. But I can also see them kind of needing to fight for positioning towards the end of the season and needing every start from Jalen Hurts. So.
All right. I will also take the over. I think when you have a quarterback that plays the way that Jalen Hurts does, there's a pretty good chance you tweak an ankle or something and you have to miss a game. And then, you get down to, is everything wrapped up by week 18? I think it's a good chance. So I'll say over 1.5 starts for Mariota. Dibes, you're up next.
Sorry, guys. I'm going over. I look at that week 11 to 16 stretch, really tough at Chiefs, Bills, Niners, at Cowboys, at Seattle, and then the Giants. Those 6 teams right there, man. Those 6 teams have a 700 win percentage last year. And then you look at the Cardinals and the Giants in week 17 and 18. They're going to smash the Cardinals. That's a layup game for Mariota to get in there and just destroy them on the ground. So I'm going to go over with Mariota getting those 2 starts to finish off the year.
Okay. Phil, bring it home for us.
We've now gone, what's that, 9 picks in a row agreeing. I'm going to disagree and say the under. Because I was saying before we went low, I was hoping a Jalen Hurts run. Why does he get hurt? Why does he get banged up? Because he runs the ball so much. He had, over 700 plus yards rushing last year. They're going to make a concerted effort to not have him take so many hits. He's still going to do the tush push. He's still going to scramble when pressure, causes it. But this offense, they're going to do a lot better job protecting him this year. And I think he is going to miss one game, week 18, because we've got the division locked up. It's unnecessary. The number 1 seed is locked up. He is only going to miss one start because they are going to do everything in their power to protect him. Now, maybe you see Marcus Mariota in the fourth quarter more frequently than some of the other games last year when, you could have put Gardner Minshew in. But you're going to see Jalen Hurts stay healthy this year, and he is going to only play or miss one game.
All right. Let's keep the train rolling here. We're going to go with more receiving yards, Quez Watkins or Olamide Zaccheaus. Ryan. No, I gave you the last one first, didn't I? I'm first on this one. So last year, Quez Watkins had 354 yards and Olamide Zaccheaus had 533. In 2021, Watkins had 647 while Zaccheaus had 406. I'm going to go with Quez Watkins. I think Watkins gets more yards here. He's the deep threat. He brings, last year when you had another slot type guy that's the enforcer in Zach Pascal, which is similar to Olamide Zaccheaus, he just didn't play very much. They want Quez Watkins on the field, and it's going to take one Quez Watkins reception to make like 3 games worth of receptions for Olamide Zaccheaus. I'll go Quez. Okay, Dives, you're up next here.
Davey says Zaccheaus, this is one of the ones that made me really stop and think. You saw the media really pumping up Quez over the last month and a half. I got to go Quez on this one, mostly because I think he's a little more versatile. I think like if A.J. Brown or Devontae goes down, Quez could play on the outside. I'm going to go Quez, but I don't think this is a slam dunk by any means. I don't like Davey did. I don't blame you for picking Zaccheaus. I think it's neck and neck. This is one of the real fun training camp battles to watch.
Okay, Phil. Do you believe in Quez
is there a way we could do like an asterisk next to my answer? Because I'm going to say Quez. But see, The thing is, that's between Quez and OZ, because I can't actually pronounce his name. I just call him OZ because no matter how many times I hear you guys say his name, I can't say it. I think the Eagles still add another wide receiver, whether it's DeAndre Hopkins, whether it's anybody out there that's available, someone that gets cut. If they add somebody else, Quez Watkins is going to find himself not catching too many balls. But, if this is our 3 and 4 wide receiver, it's got to be Quez because the team just loves him way more than we as fans love him. But I don't think he is the number 3 wide receiver or the slot guy to start the season. I will stand by that part of it. But as this question is posed, it's got to be Quez Watkins.
All right. David, do you agree with the consensus so far?
I do. I agree with what you said, that he fills the role of the deep threat, and nobody else on the roster really is able to do that. I think he'll bounce back. Last year, I believe he averaged 10.7 yards per catch, but the year before in 21, it was 15. I think he gets back to those levels again, and he runs away with it.
All right. Ryan, you going to make it a queen sweep for Quez?
Yeah, I am. But just to kind of, again, add to it, I don't necessarily see Quez being all that productive. I do believe there's a very good chance that we do bring on a wide receiver to take over that third spot, and thus pushing the 2 of them back. But again, as the question is, Quez or Zaccheaus, and I'm going to go with Quez. I think he has a bounce back. I think he's motivated. He heard it from all of us, the fans, the media. He knows exactly what was said out there, and he knows exactly what he did and did not do. So I think he's going to be very motivated to get out there and prove a lot of people wrong.
Okay. Moving on to the trenches here. Who will play more snaps at right guard for the Eagles? Center, Cam Jurgens, or offensive tackle Tyler Steen? Dives, I'll throw it to you first.
This one's not a slam dunk either. For me, though, in Jason Kelsey I trust. Give me Cam Jurgens. This is Jason Kelsey's buddy. He picked him during the draft process. He was a big fan of his a year ago. You look at a year ago, Cam Jurgens' athleticism, man, he ran the 40-yard dash, 4.92 seconds at the combine. That was the fastest time for a center since Jason Kelsey in 2011. I think Cam Jurgens has the nod right now. We saw that athleticism during the preseason last year. Give me Cam Jurgens.
All right, Phil, what about you?
Yeah, see, so it's Cam Jurgens is the answer to the question, but it shouldn't be the answer. Cam Jurgens should be left as the guy to back up Jason Kelsey, keep getting reps as the backup center, so that if something happens to to Kelsey, you got your center ready to go. Steen should be the guy, but he's not going to be the guy. Howie Roseman's going to have to justify that draft pick, and he's going to justify it by getting him snaps at right guard to start the year, and that's why that's going to be the answer right now.
All right, David, Jurgens or Steen?
I'm taking Jurgens as well. I think that Steen has a chance to get it just based on the fact that a lot of the season that Cam last year was trying to play other snaps at right guard. They really weren't able to do that because Kelsey takes so many days just from being a vet. They just give him a lot of maintenance days. So Cam played just as many snaps at center last season in practice as he did at guard despite that void. But overall, I think Cam will probably end up with that job.
Okay, Ryan, what say you?
Yeah, unfortunately, I'm going to have to agree here. It's going to be Jurgens, although just like Phil said, I fully agree it shouldn't be. I really would love for Jurgens to kind of stay in that center role, backing up Kelsey, give Steen the opportunity. I mean, that's why you drafted him. Again, it's going to be Jurgens, but I wish we had a little more time with Jurgens to stay at center, but it doesn't look like that's going to happen.
All right. Well, I think you're all wrong. Tyler Steen's going to be the starting right guard this year. It just makes more sense. Best case scenario, if you put Steen at right guard, he's your right guard for the next 10 years. If you put Jurgens at right guard, he's your right guard for one season, and then he moves to center, and then Steen goes to right guard anyways. I don't think the lightness of Jurgens next to Kelsey really works. I think Jurgens is he's a center, and I think that it makes more sense to leave him there. So I'm going to say Tyler Steen is your starting right guard this season.
I hope you're right on that one.
Yeah.
Me too.
Okay. Man, you love them.
AJ Brown receiving yards over or under 1,299.5. Last season he had 1,496, so he easily cleared that. It's first time in his career. He would have been over that 1,299 mark though. Phil, you're up first.
I'm going to shock you all here, and my answer to number 8 will explain my answer to number 7 a lot better. But I'm going the under 1,299.5. AJ Brown, I firmly believe by the end of the season will not be the best wide receiver on this football team. I already believe he's not the best wide receiver on this football team, and I think the rest of Eagles Nation will be behind me on this at the end of the season, that he is the second best wide receiver in this team. And I have a feeling AJ Brown, you saw it with his snap count last year. He wasn't getting on the field every single snap like Devontae Smith running plays. I think the team has more confidence in Devontae Smith overall. And you're going to see it this year, guys. You're going to see that he's somewhere in that 1150 to 1250 range this year.
All right. Under from Phil. David, what do you think?
I'm going under as well, just because I think a lack of target. Swift, Smitty, and Dallas are just going to eat into some of them. And kind of like Phil said about number 8, that plays a part in my decision for number 6 as well.
All right. Ryan?
Damn. Y'all are stealing my thunder too.
I know. I thought I was going to be original.
I know. I just said it. I was like, "Oh, this is going to be brilliant. Nobody's going to say this." Damn. Yeah, I'm going to go under. I agree. I think he's going to be in that like 1150, 1200 range. Where he takes a little step back as far as yard production goes. Devontae is going to pick that up in a big way. I just think his ascension right now is pointed in the right direction, and him and Hurts combo is we're going to really see it on full display this year. So, but yeah, not to say that AJ Brown's going to have a bad year at all. I just think a little bit under what we're projecting here.
Yeah, I'll take the under as well. And I thought I was going to be the one on an island when I did that. So, you know, he had a fantastic year last year, and I think he's going to have a great year this year as well. I think, you know, assuming full health, Dallas Goedert's going to eat into a little more because he missed a few games last year. Swift will eat into some. And A.J. Brown has been banged up from time to time. He's a very physical player, so it's not out of the realm of possibility he misses a game or two. So give me the under.
Yeah, for the sake of being different, I did have under, but I'm going to go over. Just for the sake of why do we go over? You look at those weeks 11, week through 16, man, that's going to be tough. They're not going to blow out teams like they did last year. There's not going to be as many second halves where all they do is just run. The defense is going to give up more explosive plays probably this year. So that means there'll be tighter games. There'll be more opportunities. A.J. Brown downfield was unstoppable. The slant, the chemistry, all of that with Hurts was unstoppable. Give me the over just so we can change things up a little bit.
All right. Well, let's keep it with receiving yards here and talk Devonta Smith receiving yards. Over under at 1250.5. He had 1,196 yards last season. David, I'm going to throw it to you first this time.
I'm going the over with Devontae. Kind of like we were just saying, I just think he'll get way more targets this season. I believe in the week one, he didn't even get a target last year. I just expect him to keep rising. His ascension has been pretty good. It looks like he increases targets like by 30 year over year, and I figure he'll get probably about 140, 150 targets again this season.
Okay, David is over on Devonta Smith. Ryan, what about you?
Yeah, I'm going over again. Kind of the same thought process here that AJ Brown's gonna take a slight step back production wise. Devontae is certainly going to grab that and run with it for sure. So yeah, I'm gonna go over here. It's going to be his kind of breakout NFL star type of season for Devontae.
All right, I am going to go slight under on this one as well. I think he's right in that ballpark. I think he and AJ are going to be kind of neck and neck. I don't think AJ will quite pull away like he did last year, but I think they're both kind of in that 1,200 range this season. All right, Dibes, what do you have?
Quentin says under. Davey says over. This one's hard. This is a good number. It's a lot. Considering I think we're going to see a lot more back in the running backs in the ground game. I think even Kenny Gainwell could get some touches. Yeah. He's not going to throw 30 times a game in 2022. I think that number goes up. Opportunities go up. Devontae over.
All right. Phil, what do you say?
Yeah, it's the over. It's exactly why I said that A.J. Brown would be under. I actually am going to use this moment to say the reason also that I said under for A.J. Brown goes back to the Quez Watkins answer too, that I don't think Quez Watkins is the number 3 wide receiver. I think they upgrade wide receiver 3, which is going to tap into A.J. Brown, but not Devonta Smith. And I think very firmly that the Eagles will have one of, if not the best wide receiver core at the end of the season, which as an old Eagles fan, I don't think I've ever been able to say that before. So it's fantastic.
Good right there.
All right. So let's last offensive one here. Well, maybe not. I think there's a few down at the end, but last one for a little bit. Dallas Goedert yards, 899.5. So he had 702 in 12 games last year, which over a 17-game season is 995. He had 830 in 2021, and he did miss one game in 2021. So 899.5. Ryan, Dallas Goedert over under.
Yeah, I'm going to go under here. And not by a lot. Again, I think this comes down to availability. I know he was certainly on pace for this over last year. But, yeah, again, he needs to prove he can be on the field more often. And considering our second and third options at tight end, we really do need him to be out there. But yeah, I'm gonna stick with under. Just you need to prove to be on the field. So.
All right, I will smash the over on Dallas Goedert. Dallas Goedert's going for 1,000 yards this season. A huge part of the offense last year, underutilized at times. He is one of the most explosive receivers consistently in the league. His targets are always high impact. I think he can sustain that over more volume, and I think he's going to get the chance in 2023. So I'll give Dallas Goedert the over at 899.5.
I love it, man. My heart says over, but my gut is saying slightly under, like Ryan. He missed 5 weeks last year. He was on pace, like Ryan said. Just 900 is just a lot for me, considering how many targets I think Devontae and A.J. Brown are going to get. So for me, just give me the slight under.
All right, Phil, tell me what you think.
It is so far under that 899. It's going to be probably under 800, honestly. And I want to make an honest bet. Like you said, over 1,000. What kind of odds are you going to give me to bet the under over 1,000? Because there ain't no way he's getting 1,000 yards.
I mean, I'm expecting big plus odds for over 1,000.
I need some odds on that because I'm taking the under. Dude, we talk about Joel Embiid. We talk about Jalen Hurts. We talk always about availability of our athletes in the city. Dallas Goedert, everybody forgets how many games he misses every single year. There's no way he's healthy enough to get to 900 to 1,000 yards. There's no way. It's 800 yards max for him.
All right. One of us is going to be featured on the clip portion. I guess we'll see which one. All right, David, what about you? Over, under 899.5?
I went over. I think he's going for like 1,020 yards and 5 touchdowns. I don't think it's that hard to get 60 yards a game in this offense, especially the way he can be utilized. He just needs to stay healthy. I think he finally will.
All right. Shout out to all the people in the comments section here, constantly dropping comments so we can cover up Ryan's face. That's comments rolling here.
Love it.
I'm sitting down here like, oh man, when are they going to take this comment off?
Okay, let's flip over to the defensive side of the ball and talk about Jalen Carter's sacks. I said his over-under at 4.25, the 0.25 because you can't actually get half sacks. I went back and looked over the last 10 years. There have been 26 defensive tackles taken in the first round of the draft, and on average, they have got 2.3 sacks as a rookie. Carter had 6 total sacks in college. So I set this one at 4.25, and I'm going to smash the under on this one. And I think the public's going to greatly disagree with this. I just don't see it. I think Jalen Carter will probably play quite a bit. I think he's going to make an impact. Over 4.25 sacks, I think, would be like defensive rookie of the year type stuff.
Yeah.
Personally. So, Dives, what do you think?
I mean, you already know. He was my number 1 guy in the draft last year. The train doesn't stop. Jalen Carter over. I think, I think he's got that Aaron Donald level, move set, swim moves, spin moves, bull rushes, that twitch, man. It's so elite. He had a 16% true pressure rate that was tied for first among defensive tackles last year. Guess what, guys? That was also the same number as Will Anderson last year. That's how good of a pass rusher he is. So for me, I don't think he's going to get 9 sacks like Aaron Donald did his rookie year, but I think you can pencil him for around 6. And I think that's also mostly because of, A, there's a clear path for him getting snaps, and B, with the Hassan Reddicks and the Sweats and everything else, I think there's real opportunity.
All right.
Yeah. I'm
Phil.
just going to say Quentin's comment was perfect. Just keep Ryan's face covered up. I agree. I agree with Dives. It's an over. Look, and I'm going to give it this reason. How many sacks did Javon Hargrave have last year?
Yeah, right.
They got to get made up somewhere. At least some of them do. And Jalen Carter is going to, because I know the next question, this also goes into the next question. I think he's going to probably have the most snaps on our defensive tackle group this year. So Jalen Carter's going to get 5-6 sacks, somewhere in that range. And if he doesn't, our defense has some serious problems this year.
All right, David, what do you think?
I also picked the over. I think there's going to be a lot of familiar faces on that defense for him. I think the communication is going to be really well. I also had the same stat pulled up, the 16% true pressure rate. I think that's a really big indicator. I also agree with Phil that those sacks that Hargrave left behind, somebody's going to pick them up. So I went over. I also had like 10 TFLs as well. But I think he could be the first defensive rookie of the year for Philly since Reggie White. So I'm pretty bullish on him.
Let's go.
All right, Ryan, what do you think?
Shane, I'm going with you here. I'm going with the under. I'm going based on history here. I'm going based on the fact that we had 70 sacks. And listen, as much as I would love for the Eagles to get another 70, I don't think that's happening. And while you say, oh, you have to replace Hargrave's sacks, well, think about how many sacks you're probably going to get under 70. Well, that's Hargrave right there. And, so I just think, it's a lot to expect a guy playing in the interior to get that many sacks, especially as a rookie figuring out this league. You also don't know how much he's going to be playing. You would assume that he is going to be playing a lot. But again, we saw what happened last year with Jordan Davis. We all thought he was going to play a lot more than he did, and he really didn't. So I think the combination of all that, I think he gets close. And listen, I would love to be wrong here because then that means, man, he had an amazing season. So, but I just can't do it. Got to go under.
Out of those, I said there were 26 rookies, defensive tackles taken in the first round of the last 10 drafts. 3 of them cleared that 4.25 bar. Aaron Donald was one. Does anybody know who the other 2 were or want to take a guess? Anybody? It was Ed Oliver.
Jeffrey, was it Jeffrey?
No, Jeffrey Simmons. He might have. He got 2, but he missed like the first half of the season because he was injured coming into the draft. The other one was actually Daron Payne, had 5 as a rookie.
He's a beast.
He is a beast. Okay. Staying in the trenches, Jordan Davis snap percentage over under 50%. So pre-injury, he had 34.6% of the snaps, excluding the game where the injury occurred. I didn't want to skew it down because he only played like the first quarter. After the injury, excluding his first game back when he just played a couple snaps, it was 19.6, and then it got up to 30% in the postseason. Now, the other thing that factors in, you mentioned they lost Javon Hargrave, who played 65% of the snaps last season. So, Dives over under 50% of the snaps for Jordan Davis in 2023.
I don't know how you guys are going to go, but I got to say under. I have to. You look at 2022, only 2 defensive tackles for the Eagles played over 50% of the snaps. 2021, they only had 2 defensive tackles play over 50% of the snaps. I think Milton Williams takes a step forward this year. I think he's going to be slight under, and I'm going to go under on this one. I still think Jordan Davis, he has great upside, but I still don't expect him to be a 3-down player.
All right, Phil, what do you think?
I agree 100% with what he just said. I don't even want him playing over 50% of the snaps, at least not at this point. I agree. Milton Williams is my breakout candidate this year. I think Milton Williams is number 1 or number 2 in snaps for the defensive tackles this year when it's all said and done. But I think Jordan Davis, if you look at young Fletcher Cox was at his best when he was playing 55% of snaps. Jordan Davis is even bigger than Fletcher Cox ever was. I think Jordan Davis is, if he stays in that 40 to 45% range, which I think he can do if he stays healthy, is extremely effective in those 40% of snaps. But once you start getting him to 50, 55, he's just not going to be able to handle that wear and tear with that body frame. So I want him to stay under. I think he will stay under, but I also think he'll be over last year's numbers and be a much more effective player this year in the rotation that we've got.
All right, David, do you agree with that?
I do. I went under. I think he might get around 40% of the snaps. I think Hargrave played 65% last year. I thought that was too many. He was not very effective against the run. He seemed tired at times. I know that they love to rotate the DTs and the NTs and everyone else on that line, so I just don't see. But 40% seems like a more accurate number in my opinion.
Okay, Ryan, over under 50% of the snaps.
I'm going to go against the grain here. I'm going to go over. I think considering the fact that Hargrave is not here, and considering Cox is getting up there, you're going to be certainly relying on Jordan Davis and Jalen Carter, and hopefully Milton Williams to take that step up. But I think I think Carter's not going to play as much as we all probably expect, and I think Jordan Davis is going to be the person that kind of steps in to take some of those snaps. Now, I don't think he's going to cross it over 50 that far, but I do expect him to get over 50% of the snaps. So I got to go over here.
All right. I am going to take the under as well. I think Jordan Davis and Fletcher Cox are going to rotate pretty heavily. I think, Cox is going to be in as a pass rusher. Jordan Davis is a run stopper. I think Sean Desai will have a little less siloed defense than Jonathan Gannon did. So I think you're going to see Davis make more of an impact, show why he was a first-round pick, but ultimately I think he falls under 50% of the snaps. Dibes, you looked like you were going to say something.
Sorry, I was muted. Did you say under?
Yes, under.
Okay.
Okay, Nolan Smith sacks 3.25. Phil, lead us off here.
This was actually a tough one for me because I'm still so high on Hassan Reddick, and I got such a high projection for Hassan Reddick again this year. And you guys say, how about Javon Hargrave sacks got to go somewhere. Jalen Carter gets some of them. Nolan Smith might get some, on the outside there. But I'm going to go over here with Nolan Smith just because he is so talented at getting to a quarterback. I just don't think it's much. I mean, maybe 4 or 5 sacks maximum. We still got such a rotation on the defensive end, on the edge, that there's only going to be so many snaps and so many opportunities for Nolan Smith. But I'll say the over, just with that caveat. It's very, very barely on the over.
Okay, David, over under 3.25 sacks.
I have him as over. I put down 7 sacks for the season. I think Graham will play his 30% or so, but I think that Smith is going to find his way on the field a lot more with that 4.39 speed and that 16.3% pressure rate. I just don't see him being stopped on the end there. I had Jalen Carter as the first player in the draft, and I had Nolan Smith as the second. So I'm pretty bullish on the guy. So I'm pretty excited to see what he can do this year.
Okay, Ryan, over under.
Yeah, I got to go over. I just think he is going to, again, he may not be out there for a lot with the rotation. And again, it seems like sometimes that these young kids aren't really just kind of thrown to the wolves, especially with the Eagles here. But I just am so high on this guy that I can't fathom him not getting 4 or more sacks.
All right. I am going to take the under. I'll take the under on Nolan Smith. I think Nolan Smith's going to have pretty limited play time. Honestly, I don't think he's a hand in the dirt guy that's going to spell Josh Sweat or Brandon Graham. I don't think Hassan Reddick is. I think he's rarely, if ever, coming off the field, and I'm not sure you're going to put Reddick and Smith on the field at the same time at stand-up linebacker. So I think he's going to have pretty limited play time. I think it was a little bit longer-term pick, so I'll take the under here.
And I'm right with Shane. I think he's a situational pass rusher year one. I don't expect a lot of snaps. I would be happy if I'm wrong, but I think he's going to be in that 2 to 3 range, right at that number. So give me the under. I think, like Shane said, this is a guy that's 2 to 3 years down the road. I don't know in terms of production how ready he is.
All right, Phil.
Yes.
We've got a. Oh, no, you started us there, didn't you? Never mind.
I mean, I said over. I'll say over again, if you want me to. It's over without a shot now. Dude, I think you guys are spot on, though. I think it's so close. Like 4's max out for Nolan Smith.
Yeah. Okay. Keely Ringo defensive snaps. It's not just snaps, defensive snaps, because he might play special teams. So Keely Ringo defensive snaps over under 12.5. David, you lead us off here.
Has he even signed yet? Just kidding. But
he has not.
I went over. 12.5 is just a very small number. I just think that at the end of the year, they wrap this thing up, he'll just get some playing time, maybe a game or 2.
Hey, Ryan, what do you think?
Yeah, it's got to be over. Again, it may be a slow start for him, but yeah, I think as the season progresses, he'll kind of jump in there a little bit, and then I think there could certainly be a game or two towards the end of the season where he's just going to get thrown in, rest some starters, and he gets some good playing time. So yeah, I think this one should be a no-brainer.
All right. I am also going to take the over, and it's on the contingency that it's probably going to be week 18. I don't think you're going to see Keely Ringo hardly at all unless it's in a rest the starters situation in week 18. But I already kind of tied into that with Jalen Hurts or with Marcus Mariota over 1.5. So I'll go over on Ringo, but I think it's going to be week 18. Dibes, what do you have?
I'm going to go under. I'm going to say, this is Ringo, right? Yeah, I'm going to say under because I think Zach McPherson gets the snaps before he does. I expect Keely Ringo to kind of get that Jordan Davis, like Nakobe Dean treatment. This is a year where he's going to just kind of sit, observe, soak it all in, let the game come to him, and we'll see him down the road, but it's not going to be 2023.
Yeah, I'm gonna agree with you on that and say the under too for the exact reason I'm not a Zach McPherson fan, but I just recently read an article about how high this team really is on the work he's put in, and maybe they also hold a grudge because he's holding out so long on his rookie contract. I think you put the 2 and 2 together there. He is so far down the depth chart. I don't even know. He might not even dress week 1. You know what I mean? To be on the field, he might want to be one of those inactive players. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. But I'm just gonna say the under on that one.
Okay, let's move on to Nakobe Dean tackles, 149.5. So last year, TJ Edwards and Kazir White combined for 269 tackles. Nakobe Dean's going to wear the green dot, so he's pretty much always going to be on the field unless injured. Is he going to hit 150 tackles? Ryan, lead us off.
This one hurts my heart. Thanks, Quentin, and I just appreciate that. This one hurts my heart because I absolutely am in love with Nakobe Dean. I just, his first year, again, we're just assuming he is going to be the guy. Listen, I would love to be wrong on this one, but I'm going to go under. I certainly think he has a great year. I just don't know if all that production is going to happen from him for this year.
All right, I'm also going to take the under. I'm expecting a good year from Dean. I'm hopeful for that. I think he was a great prospect, but 150 tackles your first season really playing as a tall order. The tackle's got to go somewhere, but I'll take the under.
Yeah, I'm right there with you, man. It's the under for me. I think Nakobe Dean's a playmaker. I think he's going to cause fumbles. I think he's going to get to the quarterback. I think he can put up 3-4 sacks easy, no problem. But 159 is a lot. That's a lot of tackles, man. That's how many TJ Edwards had combined last season. But that was year 4. That was year 4 with the Philadelphia Eagles. It's year 1 for Nakobe Dean. It's going to take some time. I think he's going to be a beast all over the field and make plays. But let's temper expectations just a tad.
All right. Phil, what do you have?
I'm going to say the over for the simple fact he damn well better have over 149 tackles. Because if he doesn't, who the hell is tackling him? I was not a TJ Edwards fan. I thought TJ Edwards was extremely overrated. He was a good linebacker, but a lot of people put him in this category that he was some great linebacker. If he gets 159 tackles, Nakobe Dean better get 150. And if he doesn't, if this doesn't hit, we're not talking about this great defense. There's some serious problems if this number doesn't hit. Because who else is playing linebacker on this team? I can't even name the other linebackers on this team. So it better damn well hit over. I'm just going to say that right now.
All right, David?
I agree with everything Phil said. I think he's going to get at least 9 tackles a game. I don't know who else is going to be getting them. There will only be 2 of them on the field at a time. If he stays healthy, I think he gets the 150.
Wow. Okay. All right. We got Davey dropping a comment here. Ray Lewis had 3 seasons of over 149 tackles.
Wow. What else did that? That was one damn great defense there.
Can I change my answer now because of that comment?
All right. Let's go to Hassan Reddick sacks. Over under 13.5. He had 16 in 2022. The 2 years prior to that, he had 11 and 12.5. I'm going to go out of our order here. And Phil, I'm going to let you lead this one off.
You know I love my Hassan Reddick. So what did I say? Did I say 18 or 18.5 last year on the show? Something like that. I said
18 and a half.
Yeah, 18.5. Dude, I'm going to say over 13.5 again. I won't push it. I'll say he has 17.5 sacks this year. I think he is the most underrated pass rusher in the NFL. And I think he continues to prove that, how great he is this year. And with how good this team is, he's going to be single blocked or open so many times to get after the quarterback. Just think about it last year. He had 16 sacks. He didn't have his first sack till game 3. I think it was game 3. So, just think of it. If he gets sacks from game 1, he hits that 18 number. So it's over so far again this year.
Well, and how many times is Kyle Shanahan going to try to block him with a backup tight end? The real questions.
Well, he's going to have 6 sacks in that game alone.
I hope every time.
All right, David, what do you think?
Over. I think he's durable. I think he'll have the opportunities. I do think it'll be a little harder this season because we won't be facing Carson Wentz and some of these guys who hold on to the ball forever. But I still think he'll get over 13.
Okay, Ryan, over under 13.5.
Yeah, easy over here. Reddick's going to eat once again. And, there's just really nothing you can do to stop this guy. So he's going to get his for sure. Easy over.
All right. This is another one that I went back and forth on a lot because the quality of quarterback they're going to play this season is a lot better. I expect some regression to the mean in terms of sacks, but at the end of the day, I can't go under on Reddick. I think he's the best pass rusher on this team because of how the defense is constructed. Presumably, it'll be similar. He's going to get a lot of one-on-one opportunities off the edge, so I think he gets over 13.5.
Here we go. For the sake of being different, I'm gonna say under. I'm gonna just let's say this. I think 13.5 is a really good number. I think I still expect the Eagles defense to take a step back from last year when it comes to getting to the quarterback. Run defense could still be a problem. And if you're playing against better teams, that means you're not going to have blowouts in the second halves where you can just pin your ears back and go after the quarterback because you have made opponents completely one-dimensional. Nearly 60% of Hassan Reddick's sacks came during the second halves last year. I expect closer games this year. So I'm going to go slight under just to be a little different.
All right. Moving on here. More interceptions. James Bradbury or Darius Slay. Now, they tied in 2022 with 3 apiece. Over the 4 years prior to that combined, Slay had 9 and Bradbury had 11. Slay did have an 8 interception season in 2017, though, and Bradbury has never had a season like that. David, who has more interceptions next season, Bradbury or Slay?
I went with Slay. I think he'll be targeted more. I think Bradbury had about a dozen more targets last year, but I think with his age creeping up, I think he'll be tested a little more. I don't expect a recap of what he did to Justin Jefferson, so I'm just going to go with he'll be targeted more, but eventually he'll be able to snag a few of those in the air.
All right. Ryan, what do you think? Slay or Bradbury?
I'm going to go with Bradbury here. This is a tough one because interceptions are tricky. It's not there's nothing you can kind of look at to predict and kind of project over a season here. So I just think Bradbury's a little bit more of a ball hawk and will probably have more opportunity to make those picks. Hopefully he can come down with them. So. Yeah, I'll go with Bradbury on this one, but this one might be the toughest one just because there's no real way to predict.
Yeah, I'm going to go Bradbury as well. I think he's a better player at this point of his career. Doesn't always lead to interceptions, but I'll go with Bradbury.
Super Swampert says, what would a division made up of Eagles, Bills, Cowboys, and Patriots look like? Any comments on that?
Eagles.
Bills will be fun. I would love a rivalry between the Eagles and Bills. That would be fun.
The
Good
Patriots would be the cellar dwellers.
Yes,
They
they
would.
would.
No doubt.
Yeah, I'm right there with David. I look at this kind of the same way. You know, James Bradbury faced 87 targets in 2022. Darius Slay had 75. I think we all saw Darius Slay take a step back last year, which means you look at tape. Coordinators are going to look at tape and probably see those numbers shift in 2023. I think we'll see more targets toward D Slay. I'm going to go Darius Slay on this one. I think there's going to be more data and opportunities.
All right, and
I'm
Phil.
going to agree. I'm going to agree with the Darius Slay. On top of the fact that Darius Slay took a step back, everyone's going to be targeting him. But I also just don't think James Bradbury is as good as he was last year. I think he's going to regress a little bit and give up more big plays. He only had three interceptions last year, and it was probably his best season of his career. So, you know, I just don't think he's an interception guy overall. I think it's Darius Slay. I just think Darius Slay even is only going to get 3 or 4 this year, and Bradbury, by default, only gets 1 or 2 this year. So,
all right. More defensive snaps next season. Sidney Brown or Terrell Edmonds? Ryan, lead us off.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Terrell Edmonds. I think he's going to kind of get the first crack at that safety position. And listen, anytime when you have a rookie, it's kind of hard to predict how they're going to get comfortable in the NFL. I really am high on Sidney Brown. I think he's going to be a great player for us. And I just think it's going to take a little time for him to kind of get in the flow and kind of get his opportunities. So I think Edmonds takes a huge lead early in the season, and Brown kind of maybe catches up a little bit. But I think in the end, Edmonds will have more snaps at the end of the year.
All right, I'm going to go Sidney Brown. I love the Sidney Brown pick. I think he's going to slot in and play quite a bit right away. I honestly think he beats out Edmonds for the starting job. So give me Brown.
Shane, I love that pick so much. My heart says Sidney Brown. He was one of my favorite picks for the Eagles this year. I was high on him all throughout the draft process, but I think it's Edmonds right now. Edmonds and Blankenship, I think, have the lead, and I can't wait to see this battle go down in training camp. That's going to be a fun one. Give me Edmonds though for now.
Yeah, I'm going to agree with Edmonds but for completely different reasons. Like I talked about Quez Watkins, I think they're going to add another wide receiver. I, without a shadow of a doubt, think they add another safety. And Edmonds is going to get more snaps because he's going to be that third safety. And Brown's going to sit. He's going to be the 4th or 5th safety. We see how slow they took it with Kayvon Wallace, partly because he stunk, but also they took their time with him and nothing ever happened. There is going to, whether it's Buda Baker or somebody else, there is going to be Reed Blankenship and somebody else starting. But Edmonds and Brown, neither of them will be the starter at safety week 1.
Wow.
Okay.
I like it.
David.
I think it's Edmonds. I think Reed and Edmonds are the two that are going to start the season. I think they integrate the safety position very slowly on this team, so I think it'll be a while before Brown sees the field, even though I am super high on him. I loved him throughout the draft process like you guys did, and I think eventually it is his job, but I don't think it'll be that way to start the year.
All right. Let's move on to the next one. Will Greedy Williams make the 53-man roster? So he signed a 1-year, $1.3 million contract. Very little of it is guaranteed. You have Slay, Bradbury, Maddox, and Ringo, I feel like, are all locks to be on the roster. They like Zach McPherson, played 99 snaps on defense, 362 on special teams last year. Josh Jobe never played a defensive snap, but he played 222 special team snaps. You've got Josiah Scott. They have Eli Ricks, Mekhi Gardner. There's a logjam at defensive back, and maybe you keep 6. Even if you keep 6, I don't know that Williams makes it. I'm going to say no. Greedy Williams does not make the 53-man roster. That's my prediction. Dibes, what do you think?
I'm right there with you, man. I've got 6 corners on the roster. I'm looking at Slay, Bradbury, Maddox, Ringo, McPherson, and Josh Jobe. I think this is a really close call between Greedy Williams and Josh Jobe, and I think you look at his contract, only $500,000 guaranteed on a 1-year deal. I think Go with the young blood, and I think again this is going to be one of the more fun roster battles to watch during training camp. But I think he's off. I would say no.
Yeah, I don't even have to say anything because two people have already said everything I would say. Greedy Williams is not making this roster. There's just too many numbers. And just like Rashad Penny, these contracts that Howie Roseman signed, great depth in case you didn't get who you wanted in the draft, but you got who you wanted in the draft. You don't need Greedy Williams. He's extra at this point.
All right, David. Greedy Williams on the 53-man roster.
I do have them making it. I think they're going to keep 6. Even though I have 7 written down, I don't know who he's bumping off between Job or whatever, or somebody finds their way on injured reserve. I have no idea, but I do think he's one of the 4 best outside corners. I think Zek and Maddox are the slot guys. I don't think Josiah makes it, but I do think it's Greedy, Job, or somebody. Somehow, some way, he finds his way on one of the 6.
Okay, Ryan.
Yeah, David, I fully agree. He's making this roster. Job can be a practice squad guy. I never want to see Josiah Scott ever again. And I'm not a huge fan of Zach McPherson, so I think he'll fit in quite nicely. He's got a few years under his belt. He's still pretty young. I think he can be a real asset to the back end of this defensive backfield. And be utilized, in a positive way. So, yeah, he's making the roster.
Okay, Eagles win total, over under 11.5. Dibes, lead us off.
This one's a fun one. Like, it comes down to a few questions. Like, will they stay healthy again this season? I think they had like every starter at the Super Bowl. That's nuts. Can Jalen Hurts repeat the same magic from last year? Will he regress? Can they have one of the top offensive defense collectively together? Like that was the thing we've said year after year after year. Like, when can we see the offense and defense play well together at the same time? And last year we saw it throughout the entire season, man. It was such a magical year. I think the pieces are there for those answers to be yes, but like, it's the NFL. You never freaking know. I'm going to say over, mostly because it boils down to the competition. I'm not a big believer in the NFC. I don't think the NFC has the elite teams like you see in the AFC. The 49ers, the fan base, they're all soft. I'm going to go over, mostly because those conference games, I think, are point in favor for the Philadelphia Eagles.
All right,
yeah, you
Phil?
all better say over. There's no way. Every answer better be the over here. Look, I'm not going to predict 15 wins like I did last year, but I think it takes 12 wins to win this division. I think the Eagles win this division, so they better get to 12. It's over without a shadow of doubt. They probably win 13 games, in my opinion. And I know it sounds really close, but it's actually a big, winning 13 games versus 11 there's a big difference in that in the NFL. You all better say over. I'm going to be really pissed off here.
All right, David?
Yeah, I went with the over. They're in a weak conference. They have the best quarterback in the conference, the best O-line, the best D-line, the best wide receiver tandem. I think it's over.
All right, Ryan?
Well, it's just to make sure that I don't upset Phil, I'm going to go over. No, I actually do have them winning 12 games this year. So yeah, I just kind of went with that, and I think it's going to be close, but it's going to be a tough year for sure. The schedule is definitely a lot tougher, but yeah, it's got to be over. I mean, this team is just too talented not to get 12 wins or more.
The last time the Eagles won 13 or more games in back-to-back seasons is never. It's never happened. Ever. Now, they did win 12 or more in that run from 2002 to 2004. They went 12, 12, and 13 wins those 3 seasons in a row. I do have the over on this one. I wonder if we will look back at this and think we were all being wildly optimistic, but I think it's about a 12-win team. Looking at the schedule and stuff, that's kind of what I have penciled in right now. But it's a brutal schedule, so we'll see what happens for that. But I'll cautiously take the over here. Okay, Derek Barnett on the initial 53-man roster. Does he make it, Dibes?
Yes. As much as I hate to say it, I think he is. And I think he's just going to be that fifth man rusher off the edge. I hate to say it, he is going to make this team.
All right, Phil?
Without a shadow of a doubt, yes. I think Derek Barnett is actually slightly underrated. He gets a lot of penalties called on him by reputation, which I think is unwarranted at this point, since he didn't play all last year. Some of those sacks that you lose from Javon Hargrave. I know he's interior versus exterior, those two players, but I bet you Derek Barnett ends up with 3 or 4 sacks on this team next year. He's going to play that Vinny Curry role from back in the day where he's only on the field on third down, and I would say over 3 sacks for Derek Barnett this year.
Okay, David, is Barnett on the roster?
I have him on the roster. The only question I had was health, and I think he'll be healthy in time to make the roster. I think they were excited to see what he could do as a rotational guy and not being the guy on the end. And I think he'll probably surprise a few people this season. I actually pretty high on him in the role that he'll be playing.
All right, Ryan?
Yeah, keep that train rolling. He's making this team. Listen, he's definitely somebody that gets a lot of crap from fans and media, but when it comes down to it, he's still a very talented player, and I think he can be very, can contribute to the mix that we have in the rotation at the defensive end position. So, yeah, he's in.
At the end of the day, he will always have that fumble recovery in the Super Bowl where he got pancaked and the ball rolled right into him. So he'll always have that. I'll say yes to. I think he makes the 53-man, but I'm not happy about it. Okay, I'm going to amend the line to this one on the fly because technically you could allow a half a sack. So we're going to change it to 0.25. The spirit of the question was, will Lane Johnson allow any sort of a sack? And I realized as we started, you could allow a half a sack. So I'm going to bump that down to 0.25. Lane Johnson sacks allowed 0.25. He has not allowed a sack in 31 consecutive starts. Phil, is this year the year that the streak is broken?
Yes, and this is actually one of the toughest questions, I think, on this whole thing. Because law of averages, in my mind, eventually he's got to give up a sack, right? And then I'm like, well, if he gives up a sack, why does he give up a sack? Well, we already discussed the Steen versus Juergens. Who was his right guard the last few years? He didn't have to worry about who was next to him. This year, he's going to be worrying about somebody playing right guard for the first time in their career. So, law of averages says he gives up a sack. The fact that he's going to have to babysit the right guard for part of the year till they get comfortable, he gives up 1 or 2 sacks this year. It's still the best right tackle in football. So, I'm going to say yes.
All right, David.
Yeah, I went with yes as well. Kelsey recently was asked which players he thought on the team were better than him or had as good a shot of making the Hall of Fame as he did. And one of them that he mentioned was Lane. And the reason he mentioned him was because he said that he gets help on every single play, and Lane is on an island all by himself on every single play. And there are 17 teams who want to be the guy to get the sack on him. He's going to take the other team's best punch every single week. I don't want to say age is catching up because he's been pretty durable, all things considered, despite having to miss a few games last year. But I do think all of those factors end up catching up. He finally gives up a sack.
All right, Ryan.
Yeah, I'm going to say under. I don't think he does it this year. I don't think this is the year that he gives it up. While, yes, I kind of agree with you that he's certainly going to have a little bit more concern to his left, worrying about who's at right guard. I still think Lane is, the top right tackle in this league, and I don't see this changing this year or next. So, I'm going to go under. He's not giving up a sack this year.
All right. I'm also going to go under. Lane Johnson doesn't get help. He's never got help. He doesn't need help. He'll take whatever you want to throw at him. And on the off chance that he missteps and gets beat, he's got one of the most elusive quarterbacks in the NFL in the pocket staring right at the guy that just beat him. And I've seen Jalen Hurts do some ridiculous things. Lane Johnson hasn't not allowed somebody to beat him in the last 31 games. That's happened. They just haven't been able to finish the job. And sacks are not just an offensive tackle stat; they're a QB stat as well. So give me the under. I believe in Lane Johnson and Jalen Hurts.
Yeah, I'm going to smash the under on this one. He deserves every benefit of the doubt. When he plays, the Eagles win, and I mean, he's just an incredible player. Like Ryan, I think you said best tackle in the NFC. He's the best right tackle in Eagles history. That's how good he is. Smash the under on this.
He's the best offensive tackle in the NFL. And I don't care right, left. He's the best offensive tackle in the NFL. Period.
F. Trent Williams.
By the way, where did Lane Johnson go to school? Does anybody remember?
Oklahoma.
Where did Trent Williams go to school?
I'm going to say Oklahoma.
Oklahoma?
Oklahoma. We do nothing but grow offensive tackles in this state.
Are you next there, Shane?
You what?
Are you next?
Am I next?
Yeah.
For what?
The next tackle?
Are you going to be the next?
I don't know if you've never seen me in person to see that I'm 5'7", 160 pounds and slow. Jalen Hurts would not be able to avoid making me give up sacks. We'll just say that. Okay, let's keep rolling. We've got like 6 more here. Jalen Hurts turnovers, which is interceptions and fumbles lost. Only fumbles lost. Sometimes they're a little quirky with like how fumbles get charged on like bad snaps, whether that gets charged to Hurts or charged to Kelsey. And so we got to go with whatever the official scorebook dictates on that. But over under 11.5 turnovers. Last year he had 6 interceptions and 3 fumbles lost. He had 9 interceptions and 2 fumbles lost the year before. So he's actually been under that 11.5 both of the prior 2 seasons. I'm going to lead us off here, and I'm going to say the under again. Jalen Hurts takes care of the football. It's one of the things that I love about the guy the most. He doesn't put the ball in danger. He doesn't put it on the turf, and I expect that to continue. So I'm going to go the under.
Yeah, I'm going to go over. I think this is the year that he finally gets over that hump. I expect some more interceptions this year. I think it's going to be a little bit over. This is a great number, as I've said many times. Like this was a good number that really made me think before we went live. So I expect somewhere in that like 8 to 10 interception range, a couple of fumbles, but right there.
Yeah, I'm on the under. If you think about it, even if he slightly regresses a little bit, his worst season 2021, 2 years ago, he hit the under on this. He takes care of the football way too well. He knows how to if it's not there, he knows how to scramble and get away. He does not fumble the football. It's under easy in my opinion again.
All right, David.
I went under as well. I think he's secured the ball everywhere he's been. Philly, Alabama, Oklahoma. He never has had double-digit interceptions. His whole game is predicated on the fact that he takes care of the ball, and I think he'll do that again this year.
All right, Ryan.
Yeah, this one's going to be under. Jalen Hurts just takes care of the football, plain and simple. He doesn't make too many crazy throws. He doesn't he protects the ball when he's running. So yeah, I expect that to fully continue, and he's going to go under.
All right, so Dibes is the lone hater on Jalen Hurts, the only guy who doesn't believe.
What a hater!
What a hater.
Well, kind of going back to what I said earlier, like there's gonna be a lot more opportunities in the second halves, like a lot more big time fourth quarter moments for Jalen Hurts this year, I think, and that could lead to some, iffy decision making with the football. We'll see.
All right, Jake Elliott, season-long field goal, 56.5. He was 5 of 6 from 50 plus last year with a long of 56. His career long is 61 yards. Phil, lead us off here. Is Jake Elliott hitting a field goal over 56.5 yards?
We could have made this 26 questions instead of 27, honestly. I don't even think it matters, this question, really. I'm going to say over. I'm just going to say that we've got a new offense coordinator. Maybe early in the season, we're a little bit more conservative with going for it on fourth down because Brian Johnson is still trying to figure out what to do on fourth down when Nick Sirianni says, give me a play to go for it. maybe Nick Sirianni isn't as confident and ready to go. I don't know. I'm just going to say over, and I'm going to blame Brian Johnson for that. I don't even know if I'm making any sense with that one right there.
All right, David?
I went over I for some of the same reasons Phil said, but I think Sirianni likes doing a lot of things like Boston Scott. He loves tormenting the Giants with him in all of the games, and I think that he'll find an opportunity to do another 61-yard field goal like he did in 2017 against the Giants and have Jake Elliott hit him again.
I am here for Nick Sirianni, like calling a QB kneel to back the ball up to hit a 61-yarder just to troll the Giants. I am
just
here
to
for
do
it.
Yeah.
All right, Ryan, what do you think?
I'm going to go under. Hitting a 57-yard field goal and over is the opportunities are rare, much less hitting them. And not that I don't think that if given the opportunity, he will, but I just don't think, given the kind of lull of averages here, I just don't think he's going to have the opportunity. And plus, if we're that close, chances are we're probably going for it. So I'll go under.
All right. I'm also going to take the under. I don't think you get a lot of those opportunities, especially with a coach as aggressive as Nick Sirianni. I don't think he gets the opportunity.
Yeah, give me the over. I mean, he's done it in 2 different years. He hit a 58-yarder in 2021. He hit a 61-yarder in 2017. And 2 other years, he had 56-yarders. Yeah, let's do it. I'm going over.
Okay, 4 of them left here. More offensive snaps this season. Grant Calcaterra or Jack Stoll? David, lead it. So Jack Stoll had 48% of the snaps last year. Grant Calcaterra had 19% of the snaps last season. David, who do you think gets the most snaps, Calcaterra or Stoll?
I went with Stoles. A big reason is just Calcaterra's health. He's always one play away from being out for the rest of the year. I think that Stoll has proven to be a pretty efficient blocker as well, and I don't see them changing their philosophy as far as running the ball, so I'd expect Stoll to take that.
Okay. Ryan?
I would just like to state for the record, I hate this question. I hate both of these players.
Agreed.
I wish okay, I got it. All right. I don't know. I just hate both of these players. I don't like them at all. I don't like what they bring. I wish they weren't our number 2 and 3 option for tight ends here. I wish we actually drafted somebody or got somebody in here that can actually do stuff. But sadly, I'm going to go with Stoll here, just given the fact that they clearly trust him more. And as the tight end too, he's asked to block more than he is to run out there and catch balls. So, and that's what Stoll does good.
Yeah, it's Stoll. I don't think Calcaterra gets much more playing time this year. Last year when Goddard was out, it was Stoll. I think it's always Stoll. It's the astronaut meme, right? It was always Stoll.
Yeah, Stoll all the way. I don't believe that Calcaterra will ever be a solid blocker, and that's what they value here. And I think there's like some decent competition. I mean, Tyree Jackson, we've been talking about him for the last couple of years. Brady Russell, Dan Arnold. I think there's a battle for that number 3 spot. I think Calcaterra probably has the best chance to win that. But keep an eye out for Tyree Jackson. So I don't think it's a done deal by any means. So Jack Stoll all the way.
I'm going to be the one that goes different here and say Grant Calcaterra.
Nice.
First off, because, you got Dan Arnold, obviously. You guys, a lot of people love Jackson. I don't get the hype there. This is another one of those safety/wide receiver. I've been calling for an upgrade at tight end too all offseason. Dan Arnold is not the upgrade. If there's an opportunity, they upgrade that tight end 2 spot. I'm not saying Jack Stoll doesn't make the team, but if there's an opportunity to upgrade Jack Stoll, they'll do it. And Grant Calcaterra, because they drafted him, they like him. Dallas Goedert misses time every year, 5 games last year. Just by law of averages, if they upgrade tight end 2, Calcaterra still makes the team and Stoll doesn't. That means that Calcaterra has more steps than Stoll if Stoll doesn't make the team. So I'm just going to take a shot in the dark there to be different.
Love it.
All right. Eagles total sacks, 54.5. So they had 70, obviously, last season. They had 29 the year before, which was one of the worst in the league. 55 sacks was second place in the NFL last year. Obviously would have been first if the Eagles hadn't gone crazy. So will the Eagles have over or under 54.5 sacks? Ryan, you're up.
I'm going to go under. Again, you lose Hargrave. Your defense certainly downgraded in some positions. And you got a lot of young players on this team that were relying to get a lot of time on the field. I just think last year was just kind of a magical year. It was something that just, we were getting to the quarterback and getting them down. I think we're still going to be very productive as far as sacks, but I just don't see how they're going to get over 55 again.
Yeah, I'm going to go under as well. Javon Hargrave, Josh Sweat, Brandon Graham, Hassan Reddick, they all had career best years last season. And Hargrave's gone. Graham is a year older. I don't think it's reasonable to expect those guys to all have that same level of year again this year. You got some turnover. You're going to have a different defensive philosophy. Tougher schedule. Teams are going to be not out of the game, having to sling the rock all the time in the second half. Give me the under.
Yeah.
All right, Dibes, you're up.
Yeah, I agree. Give me the under on this one. Nothing more else to say about that.
No, it's the over. I'm going to give you guys a reason. First off, almost all of you, except for Dibes, said that they were going to hit that Reddick was going to hit over 13.5 sacks. So that's 14 sacks. So 55 minus 14. You're telling me that Smith, Brandon Graham, Fletcher Cox, Milton Williams, Javon Carter, Javon David, Jalen, all these guys aren't going to get 37 sacks or 41 sacks? Like, it's the over easily. If Hassan Reddick is like 37 to 41 sacks is nothing for those 7 guys to get.
I think it comes down to the
easy,
quarterback play too. They're playing a lot better quarterbacks this year, and that's a big factor.
It's still the over. I think that 37 to 41 from all those other guys, that's nothing for them to get. It's like 5 sacks each for them to get. So it's the over easy for me. If I get my 17.5 sacks for my man Hassan Reddick, it's 37 sacks amongst everybody else. It's easy. It's done. Don't worry about it. It's easy over.
Take it to the bank, Phil says. David, what do you say?
I went under. Sorry, Phil. I expect.
Who was the champion last year? Don't forget who the champion was last year.
I'm coming for your 11 wins, but I expect the line to be productive. But sacks are as much of a quarterback stat as they are a pass rusher stat, and unfortunately, I just don't think we're playing the same level of quarterbacks this season as we did last year.
All right. Eagles turnover differential over under positive 6.5. Last year they were +8, which ranked third in the NFL. They were 0. They were dead even the year before. Ryan, no, you let us off this time. Shoot, I don't want to lead us off. I guess it's my turn though. Over would make them a top 5 turnover differential team by last year's numbers. Like I said, I'm under on the Jalen Hurts turnovers because he takes care of the football. Miles Sanders and his fumble issues are gone. However, I don't expect the same sort of interception productivity from the defense from a year ago. Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, 6 interceptions. Darius Slay, James Bradbury each had 3. I don't expect that a level of productivity from the defense as well. So I'm going to take the under. I think it's more of a reflection of defense not forcing turnovers than it is offense generating turnovers, though.
Yeah. Oh, this one's hard.
Because I needed some time to think. I wasn't emotionally prepared to lead that one off.
Because if they're like a top team in the NFC, they're going to be among the tops in turnover differential, man. Yeah, this one also comes back to Nakobe Dean. Like, the dude had 6 sacks at Georgia that one year. Like, I think he's going to do okay in coverage. He could add a pick or two here or there. Give me the over. Why not? I'm going over.
Yeah, I'm going to say the under, but this is another one of those. Can we put an asterisk? So I'm making sure I say that. So when you clip this out later, I still think that the linebackers and safeties on this team, at least one player on the starting defense is going to be upgraded. And when that happens, I might feel better about the over. But as the roster stands right now, you lose the 6 interceptions from Chauncey Gardner-Johnson. How many turnovers did we get? How many interceptions did we get during that stretch of games when he didn't play? Not many. So I'm going to say the under right now, but when somebody else is added to that safety room, the over will probably hit, depending on who that person is.
It's cute that you think I can't clip all that out and make you say whatever I want you to sound like you said.
All right.
Oh God.
Okay, David, you're up. Over or under?
I went over. I think it just comes down to Hurts protects the ball so well, and I'm kind of excited to see the coverages that Desai is going to be doing this year. He uses a lot of disguises in his fronts and the way he moves people around, and I think the DBs will benefit from that.
All right, Ryan.
Yeah, I'm going under here, and again, it's nothing to do with the offensive side of the ball, turning the ball over. It's us getting turnovers. You lose somebody like Chauncey Gardner, who just had a magical year. You don't really necessarily replace him. So while I think again we'll be positive in this department, I just don't see us being a top 5 in overall turnover potential or differential.
Okay, and that brings us to the last one, point differential. Over under plus 99.5. The last season they were plus 133, which ranked third. 5 teams were plus 100 or better last year. Dibes, what's their point differential going to be? Over under plus 99.5.
I hate going first. Oh my god. This one's hard.
Answer. It's an easy answer. Just say it.
I'm going to say over, mostly because they dominated so well in the first halves last year. That was their bread and butter. Remember the second quarter? Nick Sirianni, man, he definitely gets his team prepared, ready to go. I don't see any reason why that doesn't skip a beat here. I'm going to go over.
Yeah, it's the over for sure. I think it's an easy answer. If you think about it, if you agree that the Eagles are one of the best teams in the NFL, even if you take 5 teams that scored 100 or more and you make it 4, there's not 4 teams better than the Eagles offensively or defensively in the NFL right now. It's easy to go over. They might not hit 100 plus 133 next year, but there's no reason I think they won't be plus 110, plus 120, somewhere in that range. So it's an easy over. I think this is one of the easiest numbers over under that you set for this week.
All right, David.
I found it really difficult. I didn't find it easy at all. I actually went under. I think that a lot of things broke their way last year. The most important one being health. I would be very shocked if that happens again. I think they're playing more competitive teams, and I don't expect as many lopsided wins. I still think they'll be very good, but I don't think it'll be over.
All right, Ryan.
Yeah, I'm going over. Again, like Phil said, this was an easy one for me. While I don't necessarily think they'll hit up the 130s, but they should easily hit over 100. They are the best team in the NFC. While their schedule certainly is a lot tougher, I still expect them to dominate the teams they should dominate. And yeah, easy over for me.
Yeah, this one was tough for me, but I'm going to take the over. Like I said, I think there's some teams they should dominate, and they've got a tough schedule, but those should be tight games. And I expect, health, as long as health permits, which is kind of built into all of these, but I think they can hit that over plus 99.5. Okay. Quentin says under, better opponents, coaching changes, all very valid as well. So, all right, that is going to about wrap up this exercise. It's a fun show. Phil, thanks for joining us tonight.
I'm glad me winning last year didn't keep you from inviting me this year,
Yes, but it might keep us from inviting you on to the recap show at the end of the year if you win again. So
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's going to wrap it up. Thank you guys for joining. Dibes will get some polls up for these for you guys. We'll get a public vote as well and see how the public does. And again, no pressure, but you guys finished tied for last with Dibes and one other person who will not be named on this podcast. So you guys got to step up your game this year. So before we get out of here, let's throw it around the horn and let you guys get out any final thoughts, plug your stuff, all that sort of stuff. Let's throw it over to our guest. Phil, you're up first. What do you got going on? Plug your stuff.
I wasn't ready there. Trending in the AM every Monday through Friday, 8:30 a.m. on the Philadelphia Sports Network. And as below my name on the screen there, and as my shirt says, I think a lot of people bitch and moan about the radio and the national channels and the bigwigs. Support local podcasters and local channels like this one you guys are on, like the show I do every single morning. Support your local podcasters.
All right. Dibes, you are up. Final thoughts. What do you want to plug?
It's a football season yet. We only got 2 to 3 weeks remaining until training camp. Man, the hype for the 2023 Eagles season is all-time high. Cannot wait. We've been covering the Summer League. So if you love Summer League basketball, got tons of content, shorts, highlight reels, post games, watch parties. We'll be doing a watch party tomorrow when I think the game time is at 5. Me and my boy Ryan down there will be covering the best of the rest. We've covered top 10 prospects in every conference for the 2024 NFL draft. We covered all the Power 5, but there's some more guys I want to touch on, like Shador Sanders and Cam Ward and some of the guys like Joe Alt, Blake Fisher of Notre Dame that we didn't get a chance to touch on. So we'll be breaking that down. I think, are we doing that tomorrow, Ryan? I'm not sure.
Yeah, we'll do it tomorrow.
So that'll be fun. And then we finally figure that out, and there's going to be so many more videos that are going to be repurposed and pumping with highlight reels and things like that on the 2024 NFL draft. So that's about it.
All right. David, you are up. Second show, Birds of the Roundtable. You're still sticking in here with us. Go ahead and plug your stuff and any final thoughts you have.
You can read into everything I've written at phillycovercorner.com. I have a couple interviews that I have done recently, one with Sidney Brown and one Cam Jurgens, and I also have a crystal ball piece that I do that had, I think, I do 10 predictions for the season, and I think all 10 of them were part of your 26 questions. But
cool.
So you can go over there and read everything I've written. I don't have anything else to plug, though.
All right. Cool deal. Ryan, the floor is yours. We can't cover your face up now. It's not in the right position.
Yes, thank you for that. And I give a shout out to Quentin for constantly doing that on purpose. I love it. I love you, Quentin.
Oh, just so you know, I feel like I should confess. He only put that in the chat once. I just kept putting
I know.
Okay.
Believe me, I know what's going on. Don't think I don't keep tabs. No, but you can check out everything for the Philly Sports Alliance. Follow me right down here on Twitter. Best place to follow is on Facebook. You'll get all the Philly Sports Alliance shows on there, including a few that I do. And then, of course, all of the Edge of Philly Sports shows as well. So that streams directly live through Facebook. As Dive said, we're doing our 2024 NFL prospect draft kind of series right now. So check that out. We'll be breaking our best of the rest tomorrow. And then, of course, this show, normally we're Monday nights. I've been having a blast doing this show. I was actually really looking forward to this particular episode. So hopefully I can, do better than second place. I came up one short last time, and I blame Grant Calcaterra for that, personally. That's why I hated that question. I will forever hate him and that question. So that's it.
All right. Are you guys on Threads? Did you guys hop on board the Threads thing? No.
I'm going down with the Twitter. I'm going down with the Twitter, man. Going down with the ship.
All right. Well, I am on Threads, and if you guys are interested in a escape pod from Twitter, I'm at the same handle there, Shane Half NFL, in case, Elon finally fully kills Twitter. People have said to me, Threads is never going to last. It's going to go under. Why should we join it? And I'm just here to say, Threads has already lasted longer than the Cowboys lasted last year in the playoffs. So maybe you should just go on over, check it out. Now, but you can follow my stuff on Twitter, YouTube, Threads at Shane Half NFL. Check out Chalk Talk on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. Mark and I will be ranking the NFL quarterbacks, starting quarterbacks, like we did with coaches this coming week. Then we'll be off a week because I'm going to be traveling, and then we'll start to ramp up for the regular season. So if you like the Eagles, but you also want to hear about the rest of the NFL, go check out Chalk Talk. We cover the whole NFL there with an Eagles focus. So thank you guys, everyone, for joining in. Thank you guys for being a part of the show. This is one of my favorite shows of the year, and I look forward to revisiting it after hopefully a Super Bowl victory sometime in February. Would be great. So from me and Dibes, Ryan, David, the Birds of the Roundtable crew, Phil over at Trending in the AM, you guys have a great weekend, and we will catch you guys not Monday. I don't know when our next show is going to be because we're off schedule now, but we will catch you guys on the next Birds of the Roundtable. Go Birds.
Go Birds.